Hello everybody, welcome to part 3 of this farming plots tutorial. Before we begin, I just have a few things to say about something that I did in the previous part of this tutorial in part 2. I'm gonna go to the Dirt event. Now I learned recently that these specific scripts, tool condition 2 and tool condition 3, are actually not necessary. So if you have created them and applied them to your events, that's okay. The farming thing will still work out perfectly. It's just that it's not necessary. So I apologize for wasting your time on that. And to make matters worse, I tried to correct myself in an annotation that I put on the video and also in a comment under the video, but I got the script names wrong. I called it tool ID 2 and tool ID 3, but it's actually tool condition 2 and tool condition 3 that are not necessary. But like I said, if you have created them, that's okay. You don't have to delete them. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is create a script for this field right here where it says apply at page 0 out of 4. And we're also going to create a script for this, the apply field for page 3 out of 4. So let's do that now. Let's go to the script editor and create something called Dirt Hoe 1. It's only going to be one line of code, so that's pretty good. The first thing that we're going to do is go to Data Variable and select Dirt Hoe, or I'm sorry, not Dirt. Yeah, Dirt 1. Oh, I think I passed it. Oops. Dirt 1 equals 1. Now what that means is that 1 represents the dirt being hoed. It's basically like a state of being. So 1 is the soil being hoed, if that makes any sense. So we're going to update that. And you're going to copy that and paste it, and you're going to copy it for as many plots as you have. I only have 2 plots, so I'm only going to create 2 of these scripts, but depending on how many plots you have, like for example, if you have 100 plots, you're going to create 100 of these scripts. And also, you have to change the variable, so instead of dirt 1, I'm going to select dirt 2 equals 1, save that, exit out. So once you create those scripts, you're going to create another script called DirtWet 1. And this is pretty much a similar thing, except instead of a variable, we're going to select a flag. And the flag is watered 1, and that's going to be turned on. Now this is the state at which the soil is watered. You're going to create as many of these scripts for as many plots as you have. So like I said, I only have 2, so I'm going to create 2. But you might have 100 plots, so you will have to create 100 of those scripts as well. And also make sure to change the flag, so instead of watered 1, in this case we have watered 2 is on. Save that. Alright, so now that we have created those scripts, what we're going to do is apply them to our Dirt event. I would advise to not apply them to every single Dirt event that you have just yet. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply it to 1. And then for page 0 out of 4, in the Apply field, we are going to select Dirt Hoe 1. And then for page 3 out of 4, we're going to select DirtWet 1. And that's pretty much it. Now, you might be wondering what this does exactly. Well, for page 0 out of 4, what happens is when you interact with the soil, Tool Condition 1 checks to see if you have a hoe equipped. And if you do, then the dirt variable is going to equal 1, which means that it's going to change into this, which is page 1 out of 4. And as you can see on the bottom right, it's a picture of a crate. So when you hoe the soil, it's going to turn into a crate. It's going to go to page 1 out of 4, if that makes any sense. But we haven't set up the conditions for this yet, so it's not going to do that just yet, because we have to go in here and change all these values and stuff. I'm not going to do that now, though. We're going to do that much later. And you also might be wondering, what about page 3 out of 4? What does this do? Well, this checks to see if you have a watering can equipped, and then this simply turns the watered flag on, and then that will either... It does one of two things. It'll either go to page 2 out of 4, which, as you can see on the bottom right, is a watered soil, or it'll go to page 4 out of 4, which is also a watered soil, but it's a different kind of state, if you know what I mean. These are different states of the soil. It might be confusing at first, but we're gonna build on top of it a little at a time, so that's just what those scripts do. Now the next thing we're gonna do is create the seed model. Let's create a new script. This is going to be the model of the seed, which is basically just a ball that we will shape into a sort of seed shape. The first line of code is going to be events affects transparency 0% 0 frames, which basically means that it is visible. You might be wondering why we're putting this down. It's because this script is going to be called upon by a parent script, and that parent script is going to turn the event completely transparent. You'll see what I mean later. Let's create a condition. The condition is going to say tool, so this is the variable that we created. Tool is greater than or equal to 3. You might be wondering what that means. Well, tool 1, as we have established earlier, is the hoe. Tool number 2 is the watering can, and tool number 3, and anything higher than 3 is considered to be a seed. So what this is asking is, do you have a seed? And it doesn't matter what kind of seed, it can be any kind of seed at all. It's just asking if the character has a seed. And if they do, if they're placing a seed down on the soil, what's going to happen is the event model is going to change into a seed. And it looks like that. It looks like a ball. We have created this in an earlier part of the tutorial, so you should have this model. It should say seed. So go ahead and select that as your model, and then go to events, effects, size. It doesn't quite look like a seed yet. That's because we have to scale it down. And you can actually go to where it says preview. You can select the seed to see what it looks like after we stretch it out, or scale it down, I mean. So the X is going to be 20. The Y is going to be 35. Whoops. And the Z is going to be 10. So that is the result. Now, if you turn the camera around, you can see that it kind of looks weird. See how it's like really long at this angle, but then it looks perfect at this angle. The reason why it's long at this angle is because, well, we're going to clip it into the ground. So the Y doesn't really matter all that much. It can be 35, it can be 25. It really doesn't matter, but I have it set at 35. So you can do that as well if you like. The seed also has to be at the right level, because right now it's not at the right height. So what we have to do is go to Events, Movement, Vertical Move. We have to place it right on top of the dirt. And I believe the correct height for this will be 17 out of 16. And 16 units tall is the exact same size as a cube in RPG Maker 2. So 17 is right above the surface of the dirt, if you can imagine that. I think that's the right height. I'm not sure. We'll see in a moment, I guess. The next thing we have to do is Events, Movement, Bypass Members. The reason why we do this is because if we don't, the character cannot walk on top of the seed. They can't walk around. So it's very important that we have that. We're done with the seed model script. Or actually, no, we're not. Sorry about this. I forgot one little detail. We have to create another condition. Copy this, paste it down here. And the condition is going to say temporary. I'm going to choose one of the temp variables. If you don't know what a temp variable is, it's basically a variable that you use temporarily. And I know that doesn't really explain much, but it has multiple applications, basically. I know that really doesn't explain much either, but this is going to say temp variable 0 equals 0. Now, this may look confusing because we haven't defined what temp variable 0 is, but I'm going to tell you now that temp variable 0 is the amount of days that have passed. And what this is asking is, have 0 days passed? So if 0 days passed, then it's going to the event is going to look like a seed. We're going to copy this right here and delete it and paste it right in between the condition. We're going to have a condition sandwich and just paste it right there. So it's always good to write notes. So if I were you, I would go to Other, Note, and then write temp 0 equals days passed. It's always good to write notes. I mean, you don't have to, but I highly recommend it. It's extremely confusing when you don't. We're going to create another, this is the parent script called seed motion. This is the script that is going to call seed model. Alright, so the transparency, let's go to events, effects, oh, sorry, wait. Oh yeah. We're gonna create lots of these scripts. So this is seed motion 1. Now, you probably guessed that we are gonna create one of these for every single plot. If you did, you would be correct about that. So this is the first one. We're gonna go to events, effects, transparency, 100%. It's going to be completely invisible, and the reason why is because we don't really know if a seed has been placed there or not. So just to be safe, we're gonna make the event invisible. And then we're going to define what temporary or temp variable 0 is. Remember, temp variable 0 is the amount of days that have passed. So select temp variable 0 in the upper field, and then in the lower field, you're gonna select days past 1. So that's how many days have passed for the first plot, if that makes sense. And then you're gonna call seed model. And that's about it. Now you're gonna make that, you're gonna copy and paste that for as many plots as you have. So copy seed motion 1, paste it, change the name, and then also change the variable called days past. You're gonna change that to days past 2. So do that for every plot that you have. Alright. I think I'm gonna stop here, and I'll see you in part 4. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. See you later.